tonight on stream. I haven't told Devil's Advocates about it. I really don't know if I have anything with this. I'm going to let the Hive decide, but I'm going to go through kind of the same route where I'm going to go through the Hive Mind finds, and then we'll finish with what I had found, and then obviously we'll dive into anything throughout the way that DA wants to dive into. I know he has some stuff prepared as well, so I got a theme tonight. If you can't tell, with Aladdin of the "It's a Whole New World," but it's a whole new night now that we know the delta of 1 hour, 7 minutes, and 26 seconds. And I have a meme of Ann Taylor and BK riding that magic carpet, seeing the public learning about the delta, because I believe that in itself, the integrity of the evidence, does that go out the window if this would have went to a trial in front of a jury? I believe that it has. So, or I believe that it would, rather. Let's see who's all in here. We got Janet, catch you on the flip side. Blue-eyed Candy, good to see you. Catch you on the flip side, says what's up to DA as well. Tinfoil Hat Claire, tuning in from Minnesota. What's going on, Scout? Bronx Tales, True Crime. Jeremy says, let it rip. Jennifer Pell, sorry about the emails. No, don't be sorry about the emails. Please send me anything that you guys have for the Hive Mind Finds. BirdieBombshell00@gmail.com. True to It Connections, tuning in from Florida. Isabel, good to see you. Tuning in from Utah. What's going on? Summer Jade, Taylor, Luna. What's going on? Happy Tuesday is right. Big Ohio Al, what's up? Karma Police. Let's see. What's up, Dawn? 509 Sandra and Tooney. What's going on, Dina? Laddie's getting right to it, huh? The forbidden thought, the forbidden theory, the forbidden questions. How dare you? Amanda B from West Virginia. What's up, Riley? Carrie from Boise. Sharon. Washington State. UK Karen's in the house. What's up, Mary? Z, what up? Ariana says Mike says what's good, Birdie. Well, what's good, Mike? How are you doing? No refunds on that red pill, by the way. What up, Monster? And let's see who else. Flossie's in the Bronx, Northern Michigan. Truth Be Told is here. Man, it's awesome. Sweet Home Alabama. War Eagle. I can't help myself, guys. Representing Portugal. What's going on? UK Cheese Farmers Side Piece. Holy hell, that is a username. The UK Cheese Farmers Side Piece. That's a lot to unpack. It could mean a lot of things. That's awesome. Welcome to the Hive, everybody. Well, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to bring up Devil's Advocates right away, and we are going to get into it. What's going on, DA?
What's up with you?
How about that username? It's great. It's like awesome.
When you're like farmer's side piece, man, I was like, man, what's going on with that one? I don't know. What is a farmer's side piece?
There's got to be a story. It's either like there's a story behind it, or it's just a very like descriptive username. So shout out to that person over in Portugal. That's
Montana, awesome. Where the men are men and the sheep are scared.
Oh, dude. So as everybody in the Hive knows, or just so everybody's aware, the Hive, I've been starting the streams by reminding everybody, if you're new here, this is a live stream that's based in a contrarian thought process or conspiracy theories with the receipts. We dive into everything. The chat, it's wide open. You can say whatever you want as long as you're not trolling or making threats. It's okay to disagree with people. The mods have been instructed with literally like 2 rules, and it was what I just said. And this is the stream where you're able to question the narrative beyond just the simple headlines. And so if you're somebody who gets rattled or offended on behalf of others, this might not be the stream for you, but
oh no,
it's not you. Welcome to the Hive. And I'm very excited to get into tonight's theme of a whole new night rather than the terrible night on King Road. It's still definitely terrible, but it's a whole new type of terrible night.
A whole new world.
Yeah. I mean, if you've been staying up to date on that stuff.
I've been watching bits and pieces. I haven't been like the Delta time thing, by the way, has been freaking all over the place. Right. And I just, there's a part of me that's like, I'm in a different mode at the moment, which is trying to figure out like, okay, how far can we go with these things? Because if there's no trial, we can sit here and break it down forever. But if there's no trial, it's never coming out. So I've been in that mode of trying to figure out how I'm going to process mentally all of the deep dives and proof of things that we believe has been there from day one, that this is that the story was horseshit and always was. But what can he do about it if there's a plea on the table and no appeal?
You know, as true as that is, and this is not directed towards you, but like, how sad is that shit?
I know.
It sucks.
It's 100% sucks. And somebody today was just saying in my chat, and it made me angry. And I don't want to name names. You all know who I'm going to talk about when I say this, but they said, it seems very clear there was more than one person involved, and I think a female as well. And we know what female we're talking about. And I was like, fuck, man, if that person walks on this and they were involved, fundamentally, it's hard for me to sleep at night thinking that people will walk on this thing. And even be celebrated and given money, and to large extents, it bothers me on an emotional level, man.
It bothers me too. And it bothers me that, man, see, it's so hard to say this and not sound like a wannabe hardo, right? Because it's like, you got that thought that just starts creeping into the back of your head of like, oh, what's the point? We're not going to be able to change it. We're going up against the system. And it's like, yeah, unfortunately for us, we are in so deep as a society that's become an acceptable thing, and it just shouldn't be. And I'm not saying that this is going to be the case that ends it. I think that's probably decades, centuries long of humanity being, oppressed by the powers that be and kind of destroying our will to continue to fight. But again, the thing that I really want to make clear and hammer home is, you could replace Brian Kohberger's and the victims' names with anybody. This is now transitioned into the investigation. Even if you were to take the plea deal out of it and the sentencing out of it, the investigation needs to be looked into, because God forbid you're ever in that situation and you're looking for answers. Okay, well, where do you look? What do you look to if the timeline's off? Okay, well, like I said on the stream last night, if there was daylight savings, if the cops use local or UTC. Like, there's things that, you can still learn about. You can
try to figure it out. Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
Yeah.
And it's a thing. I mean, like, yeah, I guess in a way I feel bad, and I feel like I'm letting some people down, because I am kind of feeling a little defeated, as we approach the appeal window running out, because again, while I agree that it is super interesting to break all this stuff down, at the end of the day, what can you do about it? Like, you can raise holy. Part of the reason why I had so much passion, part of it is that I was thinking to myself, you wait, motherfuckers. Like, you wait, when this goes to trial, this is going to change everybody's mind. And then all of a sudden I was like, well, nope, we're not going to trial. There never was going to be a trial. And I'm like, I'm so pissed now. I don't even, because I'll never be vindicated. You're never going to see the stuff that I think would have come out in trial. Never. So then it's just anger,
Well, I understand that perspective for sure. I've had thoughts like that too. And we don't know if he's going to appeal. Obviously, the window is still open. There's still a chance. Yeah. I've shifted the mentality to whether he appeals or not. I'm now at the point where it's like, why are there things like the Delta, like these photos? How are crime scene photos different from 2022 to 2025? Why do they look AI generated? And I have one where you can, if you've done any AI image work, it's like, okay,
why?
That's it. I mean? Like, why?
You and I haven't talked about it, but why the frick have the photos that we've seen you cannot have so little blood in a scene that they told us what they give us a description. There's no way in hell the photos that we've seen match that kind of damage. There's no way. So and again, this is the problem. Help me make sense of this. I can be pissed about it all I want. What the fuck's going to make a difference? Like, there's going to be no trial. So I'm pissed about it. I'm like, that can't be the crime scene. That makes no sense. And they'll be like, you know what? Doesn't have to make sense. There's going to be no trial. So live with it.
Yeah. And that's where the approach that I'm going to try to take, and the approach that I'm going to try to put forth into the streams when this case is discussed, is rather, okay, fine. If Brian took the plea, he's not going to appeal, and he's going to sit in jail or prison. And if he really is innocent, at the end of the day, I don't know how you can say that that's on anybody but him, because he took a plea and he never said he was innocent. He never opened his mouth. He never explained shit. So it's like, at the end of the day, while yes, if he is innocent and he is wrongfully convicted, but he's also not taking the steps currently to show he's been wrongfully convicted. Like, his lawyer tried, but I'm saying if he does not appeal, right? We can get into the weeds on all the legal stuff, but what I was going to say and where I was going with that is, then if Brian Koberger is going to do that, well, I know that I sure as shit want to hold the mainstream media accountable for pushing all of the speculation and the narrative junk that helped convict him. Then if he's innocent, they pushed all of it. Yes.
And I think if there's a way to do it, and I don't know how to do it, and this is going to be, I'm saying this out loud for the first time. If some cops can go to jail for this shit, if a judge can go to jail for this shit, if somebody could be held accountable for the absolute disgrace of justice that court system was, then that would be something, right? Even if Brian Koberger has no more options and he has to spend the rest of his day in jail, someone needs to pay for some of the shit that happened, some of the lies that happened, some of the manipulation. And if it takes people beating down doors and saying this person specifically needs to be investigated for what they did on this day, and that's a crime and that should be punished, and go after some people. So regardless, again, what happens to Koberger, that should be happening.
And I think it's important to continue to say that, because looking into the investigation, looking into why shit doesn't make sense, has been perverted by the mainstream media into it's disrespectful to the family. Stop looking for transparency. That's disgusting. No, it's not. It's not about the families anymore. It's not. Just because their names are attached to the case, what we are looking into really doesn't have anything to do with the victims. It has everything to do with the law enforcement that investigated this. So real quick too, thank you, Deborah. Deborah says, doing an excellent job. This is a very intriguing channel. Diversity is mandatory. I absolutely think that the ability to think openly and have working theories and not be afraid to put something out there if you think it, and let your colleagues and your peers and the other people in society take what you have and further that progress, it is mandatory. Absolutely. No doubt about that. And Blue Eyed Candy said, I got to say this, harsh. So I believe Blue Eyed Candy's referencing Harsh Reality, the creator, said what I've been thinking since the release of the crime scene photos. It doesn't feel right at all. There should be way more cast off spatter, evidence of blood after the savage attacks. Now, I'm indifferent, and this might sound a little bit odd coming from me. I'm indifferent on crime scene photos being released if a victim's body's in it. I can see that argument from a parent standpoint. Do you want, your slain child's body to be plastered all over the world? Right? I mean, I could see an argument on how that would be.
By the way, I want to chime in for a second about the crime scene photos and whatever, because again, people want to try to shame us for wanting to see the crime scene photos. And yet the little we've seen of the crime scene photos, there's a reason why we want to see the crime scene photos. I have on my channel a very, very super supporter who's an NYPD police officer. And he says, I've seen thousands of crime scenes. That's not a fucking crime scene. That crime scene that we're seeing in there is not right. I've seen people, he said, in fist fights who had more blood that left behind on the scene. You get a head wound and there's blood everywhere. He's like, that scene, I'm telling you, I've had thousands of experiences in crime scenes, and that's not a legit crime scene. So I don't know what to make of that. You've got a guy who's very experienced. He's got over 20 years on the force, and he tells me he's seen thousands of crime scenes, and he can look at that right away and tell you that's not a crime scene. That's not the right one.
And again, this is the part that you and I have ranted about. At the end of the day, you and I, we are grown men, and if we want to make a decision to look at a crime scene photo because we've been looking into the investigation aspect, we don't need, daddy government to come in and say, no, don't, you guys, it's disgusting, stop looking at it. Or you don't need other people to say, no, don't do it. Like, stop, just stop. Right. Like, it's a public case. There was a murder in our community, or in a community that's looking for answers. There's so many people that don't feel like this case is solved.
Well, and even as YouTubers, you and I, what we do is crossing the lines between an investigative journalist and a detective. Like we're detectives have to look at the crime scene photos. So why can't we? We're kind of in that line. Maybe we don't get paid to be a detective. I'm not hired by a police force, but what we do on the internet every single day is tantamount to what investigative journalists do, what detectives do. And we don't shame those people for looking at crime scene photos. So we should be able to do it as well. Right. So let's get off that stupid narrative.
Yeah, just because we don't have the dramatic opening drone shots of the city when we talk about it for a Netflix limited series. Okay.
Right.
I digress. All right, DA, let's get into it here. As a reminder, everybody, if you want to join the Hive Mind off stream, go to my YouTube channel, click subscribe, click the more button, scroll down. We have birdiebombshell.com. That's got some Hive merch on it. I am working through getting some dope merch set up for everybody. And then I have my TikTok, the Discord, and a Substack. I did just put out another Substack article today. I post on Mondays and Thursdays, and then occasionally after lives, usually once or twice a week, I will hop into the Discord and join the voice chat to talk with everybody off stream as well. So those links are all in my YouTube channel. And then DA, I made you a slide actually for tonight to plug your stuff if you want to go over that.
Oh man, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Yeah, because I just got into Substack as well. I've been having people ask me to do Substack, and it's funny because I'm a writer by nature. I love to write. It's how I release tension. I write. Yeah. And so Substack I think is a missed opportunity. I'm glad that you jumped on. I made you a lifelong member without you have to pay. Hopefully it doesn't end up as junk mail for you, but I was like, I'm just going to give you a lifetime membership. So yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you guys want to see an incredibly detailed deep dive on the police reports that came out, DA did I believe it's 3 parts, right? 3-part series. Those are the only thumbnails I saw for it.
Yeah, there were for the police reports. I did like 3. I don't know. I did like 19 hours, and I did what I would do is I'd do a breakdown of 50 documents, and it would be 3 1-hour videos, and then I do another 50 documents where 3 1-hour videos, and I did that for like 19 hours. Yeah, tons of videos.
So this looks like it's 251 through the end. But yeah, I've watched these. These are very good. Great points. Very like passionate about what you find in them too. So I would say if you guys want something to watch as far as detailed police reporting, go check out that series. Now, moving on to the question of the day, it comes from Briley Allen, which I actually saw their name in the chat right now. You can answer this one first, DA. What was the biggest WTF moment for you in this case?
In the Brian Koberger case?
Yeah.
The biggest, I think it's hard. How do you put the biggest WTF? But I think that honestly, probably the one that stuns me the most is late in this game when Bill Thompson got up and they said, please tell Brian Koberger what you would have presented at trial. And it was nothing. We can't place you in the house. We can't show a motive. We can't prove you had anything to do with the girls. We can only put your phone near the house. That's what we would have presented. And again, I looked at Koberger like, are you going to go through with this plea deal? They just told you they have nothing. It's the most circumstantial case. I blew my mind. I'm like, okay, Bill, tell me something that convinces me that this was the guy. And he's like, yeah, we got nothing. Thank you. We rest. And I'm like, fuck, what just happened?
I would have to echo that. Hearing that post sentencing press conference where they were like, yeah, well, we have no proof that he stalked them. We don't know if he had a burner phone. We actually don't even know how many phones he had. I forgot. And there's no connection to the victims. He would usually use a VPN regularly and wipe his computer regularly, and he would call his mom at that same time every time. And he has a lot of photos with a thumb up and a hoodie. And we really had nothing. So,
dude, I'm going to try to keep this rant short, but this is what drives me insane. Now that we had Bill Thompson come up and say, hey, we had nothing on him, really. We couldn't prove he was stalking the girls. We don't know that he even knew the girls. We're not even sure that he picked the house last minute. We have no idea why he picked that house. And now that that's all done, we have Nancy Disgrace and all these people coming on and saying, Brian Koberger liked to sniff panties. And, oh, by the way, somebody else comes on. I saw a cinder block outside the window, and I thought to myself, you know what? Brian Koberger probably sat on that cinder block and watched those girls day after day. And I'm like, why are you allowed to say that shit? Like, literally, they just told you there's no evidence of that whatsoever. And because it's done and there's not going to be a trial, guess what they get to do? Say whatever the hell they want. Oh, yeah, he was sniffing panties. He had to take it to the next level, sitting on a cinder block outside doing the slow stroke as he watched the girls. I mean, how far are we going to Sorry, this is not a child channel. Okay, I'm out. I'm done.
Yeah, no, you're good. And this is actually breaking news right now, Hive. I don't know if you guys have seen this yet. Nancy Grace just actually sent me footage of Brian Koberger on his panty raid.
Oh, God.
Here it is, everybody.
Oh, that makes sense. I
guess you're going to miss the panty raid. I said, I guess you're going to miss the panty raid.
Panty raid? You're talking about girls, right? Girls?
Yeah.
And you're talking about raiding their dressers for their underpants, right?
Oh, yeah.
So, breaking news there, like I said, from Nancy Grace.
That is
So,
some top dog investigative journalism on her
Yes,
part. Good job. That was
absolutely great job. So I would sum up the biggest WTF has been, I think Briley brought up a good point. The one who asked this question, the house getting torn down. Like I said, the press conference, the Delta, the time difference is effing weird. I have something tonight that I found I've never noticed. And if you guys saw the thumbnail about the diesel engine, I have something about that. And then I also have something else where I'm like, see, there's a lot of weird stuff that I've seen in the footage looking back at it and the pictures, but what is this? And I promise you that you guys are going to have that same reaction because I don't even know what I'm watching anymore. It's pretty remarkable. So moving on to the Hive Mind finds. Now this first one is a little bit longer, but I just wanted to take a moment here and read this because, and I actually even kind of shortened it a little bit, but I thought this was a good take from this gentleman. He said, "Hey, Birdie, huge fan of your channel and the work you're doing. This has been an opinion of mine since the first time I found out about drugs being in the 1122 King Road house. Was further confirmed when I saw the video 2 years ago about what the neighbor heard and saw, even before what we now know was likely the police vehicles circling the residence. Circling the house was not strange to me. As somebody who has struggled with addiction, specifically the same drugs BK struggled with there being a roll-up dollar bill at the crime scene and a blue powder substance found that could be one of two things, either crushed up real Roxy 30 mg pill or the fake Fenty pills, would be interesting to see a toxicology report. As part of my parents trying to control my drug use, my mom made me share my location with her. On the iPhone, if you turn off your phone, it will actually freeze the location where the phone was turned off, meaning the blue location dot will appear where the phone was turned off. I believe he likely had a burner and communicated with his dealer via an encrypted message app like Signal. We obviously know now that they haven't come out and said that he had a burner. I'd be curious, though, if that encrypted app might have been something. But regardless, he says, so in my opinion, either BK was set up and told to come to the house after the crime and was told to just come inside. It's not uncommon at all to meet dealers at random party houses. When BK went inside, he likely realized he was screwed and would also explain why he sped away. That's why the police have no connection. BK likely got rid of his burner. So even if he had been in the location before or even at 1122 King Road, it can easily be explained by him buying drugs. It also explains why the cops would circle the route. They were likely aware of the drugs. That's how I got caught buying. A cop was tipped off about a location and would circle hourly. That just so happened to catch me buying something through a window. But at the end of it, he says, by the grace of God, I'm almost 3 years sober. Well, cheers to that. And
I have got comments about this, but you have comments first, right?
Yes. And I put this up here for a variety of reasons. You could probably guess why, DA. So I think that the people who have the experience where they've struggled with an addiction, if that is true about Brian Koberger and it comes out confirmed, there's validity to, going to a random party house to buy drugs. There's also validity to the cops knowing that it's a party house. We've seen the footage where they roll up to it and they're, kind of harassing them for noise complaints. If they're doing a patrol in plain clothes, who knows what they're looking for coming in and out of that house. Now, I do believe that not a lot, but there's some things in here now, which it shows the power of the narrative, right? Throughout this case, if that's where you're going, DA, you can maybe mention some stuff about that.
Well, I'm ready to comment, but are you done with your thoughts?
Yeah, go for it.
Oh, yeah. So this is one of the things that this burner phone thing is what is just, I want to point this out. If you didn't hear me talk about it, some people have heard this before. Molly McMichaels, when she was talking about the DoorDash delivery, said when she put in the address of 1122 King Road residence, she couldn't find the house. She had to circle the neighborhood over and over again trying to find the house. When it did, Google put her on the back side of the house, behind the house, and told her a footpath to walk down to the back side of the house. And I said at the time, how do we know Brian Koberger wasn't just told arrive at 1122 King Road residence? And that's why he's circling the house. Because Molly just said GPS, at that time, Google was not taking you to the house directly. So you had to circle around trying to find the house. And where does it put you? It put you at the back of the house, exactly where they say Brian Koberger parked, at the back of the house. So was Brian Koberger literally just looking for that house number like somebody else went there? And then somebody says, well, you're an idiot, DA, because if he was using his phone to do GPS, his phone wouldn't have been off. And I'm like, unless he had a burner phone. So this guy talks about the burner phone. So if Brian Koberger had a reason to turn off his phone and use a different phone and use GPS to go to the address he was told to go to, guess what he would probably be doing? Circling around the neighborhood, looking for the building and parking right behind the building where they said he parked. So just food for thought.
My general comment about this is, again, there's people with real experience that you can piece together why somebody who might be struggling with an addiction would be over there, right? I don't think anybody argues that talking point. You know what I'm saying? Like, who knows why he was there? Did somebody tell him to come there? Was he trying to, re-up? Who knows? But it's really hard for me to continue to buy the overarching gist of a narrative that Koberger was a criminology student, didn't know anybody, he was alone, and he was relapsing. When I hear all that other shit going on Linda Lane, you see the discrepancies in the body cam. You hear what the prosecutors say and what the investigators say. He has no connect. Like that's where I get lost in that narrative. Yeah, I can understand the narrative, but does it apply directly with evidence? I don't think nearly as much as what probably some of the other shit that we're seeing and hearing and learning about, which takes me to, I have this out of order. I should have had another one right in front of this, but this is still a good one to look at. Look at this. 2022, 2025. This is supposed to be the same photo. Look at the calculator in bottom picture compared to the top picture. It looks oddly distorted.
Yeah.
I mean, if you've ever tried to generate an AI image, that shit looks like that. I mean, what is that?
Right.
Or they upscaled it. Why? Like, you know what I'm saying? They AI upscaled
or sharpened it and did some coloring. Yeah. There's a lot of things that could have. Yeah.
Why? There's
right.
Why?
Right.
So that was interesting. Now, this one was very interesting. And this person makes such a good point. And I don't know how this went over our heads for so long. I can't zoom in on this document, but we can look this up. Or maybe I'll actually dive into this more and pull up the entire document. This is just a screenshot this person sent. But it says, B, why isn't anyone talking about this? Especially the Hive, the bird with the word. Not a single influencer that I actually trust with my time has even mentioned this. And I'm all like, wait, what is how picture these emojis, what they would say. During BK's interview with Payne and Gilbertson, without further explanation, Payne states, quote, Koberger then discussed ongoing projects with WSU PD and Pullman PD, end quote. What am I missing? Because it's making me lose the little bit of hope I anchored to with the Hive. Now, y'all look like the mainstream media at this point. Genuinely felt so sad. Help me understand. This is effing crazy huge. And you, Phoenix, TNT, Sherlock, Jules, not one of you all question, discussed, offered an opinion. I may not sound like I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt, but I promise I am. I respect the hell out of you, Ms. Birdie. Say it ain't so, you guys. Well, as you know, and if you've been in the Hive for a while, there is documented funding from the NIJ. And DA, actually, I believe that's how you and I met. You saw one of my TikToks about that. And you're like, I haven't heard anybody else talk about that. And it was about funding to look into predictive criminal behavior. Yeah. And it's in the same criminology department that Brian Koberger's enrolled in that just transferred across the country to. And then he just so happens to commit this crime where they use geofencing and IgG and pretty much everything that Palantir is going to use to go into predictive criminal behavior, which, speaking of Palantir, very exciting news. George Webb, the investigator, is going to be on stream in the next probably week and a half at some point. We're just finalizing a date. So that is coming up, and that will be one for the books with going into Palantir and how cooked we are if that becomes the norm.
That's a good one.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on that, about the quote?
Only this. Like, I mean, I get asked a lot of times, why aren't you commenting on this? Why aren't you commenting on that? And all I have to say about that is there are so many different theories. I did a video on 22 different theories that are out there, and I can't emotionally and investigatively investigate all of them. So what I have to do at the end of the day is I have to go with my gut on the ones that I think are going to merit the most fruit. And they're not always going to be the same ones that you guys do. So on the one hand, I can say when people are like, how come no one's talking about this? It may just simply be because I'm spending my time researching the ones I think are the highest likelihood. That doesn't mean the other ones aren't likely or that they couldn't pan out, but there's not enough hours in the day to research every single thing. So I leave that to other people. But like this guy is saying, well, nobody else is doing it, so somebody needs to pick it up. But
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's just a matter if you have to follow your gut on the ones that mean the most to you, and you're like, that's going to be a thing right there,
Yeah, and I will. It kind of struck a little bit of a chord with me saying that I look like the mainstream media at this point with the Hive, and so now it's personal.
Right. I mean, yeah. How do you not take offense at that a little bit? I get it. You froze up, Birdie. Oh shit, Birdie froze up on us. You must have had that AC pop on.
That is the first time my Wi-Fi cut out a little bit. I got a booster. Am I back?
Yeah, you're back, and you know what's great is you froze on a great smile, so you looked good. You were winning. Yeah.
Nice. Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, Hive. I don't know what to make of this. I do not know what to make of this. I've talked about, and then we'll get into the diesel engine, but I wanted to show you all this first because when we listened to the audio that, is it Roz or Raz put out? Sorry. I think it's Roz. We listened to the audio last night where she and 1 a.m. on Linda Lane is bananas. It's crazy. There's so much going on. So
but is it 1 a.m. or is it 2 a.m.? Is there an hour difference on this?
Well, and let me clarify that too. So there was Sherlock and Pavarotti have also told me that Sherlock rather told me, but I saw Pav had also posted about this too. The security cams have all been FBI verified in the court docs. So it's like, okay, could they? Yes. But as far as working with the court documents on this, all of the security footages have been verified. However, what is not verified in the court documents is the body cam footage. Yeah. And the Delta does apply meticulously to the body cam footage. So with that being said, I'm still trying to work through to see if there's any overlap with the security cameras. I have not really found anything yet. But while I was doing that, I found this. And it all stemmed from starting at this point. I was on the Linda Lane archive and Jeff H's page. I'm like, man, 1 o'clock, a lot of stuff starts happening. Like, what happened before then? Well, there's like 2 minutes on this clip from 12:27 to 12:29. And I want you guys to watch this shit because I don't know what I'm even looking at. So I'm going to go ahead and put this full screen, Hive. Now, I'm going to play this normal, and then I'm going to slow this down. And this is going to blow your mind. Okay, so we've all seen this. I'm going to pause there. What kind of car is that, DA?
I don't know.
Sounds like a sports car, right?
It does. Yeah. It
sounds like a Mustang. Everyone says it's a black Mustang. Okay.
Yeah.
Hive, would you guys agree with that? Sounds like a black Mustang.
Yeah, it had a distinctive motor for sure. Yeah.
All right. Okay. We're going to keep letting this play. Kind of looks like Mustang taillights for sure.
No, I'm not. It's getting scared. Not to be that guy, but we shouldn't park anywhere here. It's only the part of the bottom part of the lot.
Your mind's going to be blown.
That kind of looks like an SUV, though.
Oh, just wait, brother. Now they switch it. Okay. So that all started from me going back, and now this conversation hits way different when you listen to Roz's video, right? And I'm going to go back and I'm going to play this, but first I want to show you guys some things that I found, which is crazy. Okay, so I have the timestamps up here. This is when it still looks like a Mustang. Okay, it starts to pull in over here. As you can see, the timestamps go up from 12 or 18 seconds, 20 seconds, 26. It disappears. It's completely blurred out. Okay, then it starts to back up, and it starts. It might as well be what do they call that? A transformer. Because look at what happens. It turns into a Nissan Pathfinder. How would that happen, Hive? And you look at this and it's like, whoa, hang on. So that is completely a Pathfinder's body shape. You can see it all down here. That is not a Mustang in any way, shape, or form. So I'm like, what the hell? So it goes from a Mustang, it sounds like a Mustang, so then it backs up and you see a Pathfinder. And then I started looking, I'm like, holy shit. When you look closely, there's a taillight up here, and you can see the end of the car. And you look, these girls, they have to step out. So this entire time, it's been a Pathfinder, and they blurred it out. And then when you would see it, they do all these bright lights. And I'm starting to look at this, and I'm like, wait, what the hell? How does this happen? You know, and then I'm like, that kind of looks like a black pickup truck, but I'm like, no, that was a Pathfinder back here. There's no doubt about it that is not a Mustang. Well, then I started looking, I go, oh my God, Dylan drives a Pathfinder. And you look at this and it's like, holy shit, is that the same car? Is that Dylan dropping them off? Now I'm going to go back and I'm going to play this for you guys. And I want you guys to listen to something when these people get out of the car, and then I'm going to slow it down.
Yeah, I thought I heard something. I'm
going to show you guys in real time. Okay. So. Oh, shoot. Sorry. That went ahead to the 1 a.m. My bad. It autoplayed. This is the video. Okay, so I want you to remember what this sounds like right here. But it's like, how do they do that? Listen. Right there. I believe what we hear, if that is Dylan's Pathfinder, we hear, Dill, I'm not. Dill, I'm not. And then you listen to what the guy says, and he goes, yeah, I got to meet that guy. And then, you know, blah, blah, blah. I told her to park down there. And then at 1 o'clock, you hear all these people show up and a fight breaks out. Listen.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
Still, I'm not. And then because the whole scared thing, everyone's like, oh, no, they were responding to scared. No, they ask that question, oh, are you scared or whatever after. Now, listen to the rest of this conversation.
Scared? Not to be that guy.
He doesn't say not to be that guy. He goes, I got to meet that guy.
Not to be that guy. We shouldn't park anywhere here.
And he's saying, we got to meet them. I told her not to park anywhere here, to park down at the bottom. Now, continuing this, as I just kind of roll through this, DA, I want to show you this in real time, everybody. And I can turn this down because you're going to watch this car completely morph. Okay. This is at 0.25 speed. This is wild. So you can kind of see it starts to back up. And right when it goes behind this pole, you're going to watch it transform into a Nissan Pathfinder. How in the F does this happen? What is this? Look at it. It's transforming into a Pathfinder. What is that? What is that?
You've got me at that moment where I'm like, I don't even know what I'm, like you said, I don't know what I'm looking at. And at the end of the day, it's like when people manipulate photos and videos, you don't know who manipulated it, because we're not going to have a trial. We're not going to have the evidence of this, come under scrutiny to say if anybody manipulated the frames. Those are all the thoughts that go through my head, is like, how can you test that? I mean, I don't know.
I mean, dude, I'm sorry, but like,
yeah,
they don't even sound the same. The cars don't.
There was a moment, to be fair, I mean, I see what you're saying, but to be fair, when the second time you played it for me, the car going by, I almost asked you to freeze frame it, because it did look like the vehicle might have been a little taller than the first time I saw it, but the engine sounds distinct.
So watch this. Now, like this angle too. Like, dude, you can see that completely. I mean, that's a SUV, bro.
Right. That's what I said.
No
I was like, that looks like an
it.
SUV to me when it's backing up. But yeah.
And now, I swear to God, it shape shifts again at the end. And I find it very funny that the camera just so happens to have that same white glow that you see on all the other security cameras where you can't see the front of it. Okay. Now watch this. Watch what happens when it starts to drive, and you'd be able to clearly see it going this way.
What's funny, by the way, to stop for a second, because what's funny is this white pole that cuts the car in the image is a great place to photo manipulate a car, right?
Yes.
Because it's blocked out, you can now just have different frames inserted on the backside to be something different, and that gives you a nice cut line where nobody's going to suspect something happened. Yeah.
So now watch what happens in the camera. Oh, now it turns to this color for whatever reason. You could say, oh, the headlights hit it. Okay, but now watch this. You don't see anything. I actually thought that looks like Dylan's boyfriend's truck now. Doesn't it look like a Chevy pickup or whatever? And it's got a light bar at the bottom. And now look, what is that? It's like 3 different cars, dude.
Yeah,
this
is what bothers me.
Truck?
When we were, here's the problem, man. In the very early stages of this investigation, I remember hearing about, what was her name that did, Olivia? She did some kind of podcast, and she jumped all over something because somebody had audio footage that had something, and it turned out that some YouTuber had manipulated footage and made something up and put it out there, and then got everybody to bite on it in the internet. So I never know what I'm looking at. Like, have YouTubers manipulated the video?
Dude, come on. Who the hell would take their time to manipulate this when this shit's been the weirdest stuff of all time? I'm telling you. This is like highly manipulated. If you're going to manipulate an entire night of footage to where it would flow together in a conversation and all that stuff, and the background noises and multiple people, and then the frame by frame where you could barely notice it in the regular time.
Yeah.
And now, I mean, I'm telling you, that looks like a black pickup truck.
Yeah.
And then as soon as it leaves, boom, right back to normal.
Yeah.
Come on, dude.
This case is going to give me nightmares. It's just
so
a
now,
shit sandwich.
Here's what I want to show you guys too. I want you to listen to this car when it pulls up. Right here. That noise. Okay, now it changes. Right there is where it changes. Kind of almost right here. You ever notice that? The sound changes right at the pole, the cut line, to your point. Now, I want to show you guys this too. So I should have this pulled up, but hang on. 6 to 7. Now I want you guys to watch this because this shit's crazy too. Listen. Oh, did she already pull in? No. Oh, yeah. Yeah, she did. Sorry. Hang on. I got to go back. 6:35 is where it should be. Now listen as the car approaches. Tell me it's not the same noise. Come on. Sorry. Hear that? Hear the muffler a little bit? It's a little bit louder. It's an older car. I don't know. I just thought it was very odd. And then you listen to when it approaches here. It sounds the same tone and it changes right at the line then. So I don't know what to make of it, but
yeah,
you know, again, I hate that I can't turn my brain off now when I see some shit like that, because what does it mean? I don't know what it means. And it's like, but at the end of the day, it's like, what would that be for? Why would you do that? And then it's like, okay, Dill, I'm not. And then it's like, if you're going to meet someone, tell them to park down there, or whatever it is. Who knows what the reason could be? But what I wanted to discuss this evening, which was the whole purpose of the thumbnail too, is how weird is it that you hear that diesel truck, the loudest effing engine rocket ship diesel truck all night. You only see it one other time. Okay, so when we watched Roz's video, that was at 1 a.m. And that goes on for how long? 30, 45 minutes, however long she did that for. When's the only other time that you see a diesel truck in close proximity on camera?
At the grub truck thing?
When they're walking by the grub truck and you hear the diesel truck.
Right.
So my question is, does the Uber driver really even exist? Because we've never seen the Uber car. Drive them, drop them off, nothing. We don't see them get into it. And if there was a fight that's going on and the girls are like, oh, again, everyone's like, oh, the dog got out. Well, what if there was a giant fight over drugs again? Or what if there was a giant fight over drama again with Ethan and the frat boys, and they knew it was going on? So they go and somebody had texted them, they're fighting again outside, and they're like, oh, again. And then that person had actually left their house and went and picked them up from the grub truck.
Yeah, and it was confirmed Gower wasn't on duty with Uber when he supposedly picked up the girls, right? So there's no proof of the drive, right? Because it wasn't tracked by Uber. So to the point, you can't say even that we know he picked them up, because it's all hey, I had my phone off, I was driving privately at that time, they texted me privately. So it was a great story because you can't prove it.
And let me ask you this. Do they, and I could be wrong, do they ever call the ride that the girls allegedly got from the grub truck? Do they ever call it by name of an Uber?
No.
In the court documents? No, they call it a private driver.
Correct. Because he wasn't driving for Uber at that night. Or
it's really not even him, and it's one of their friends. Hence why Dylan would text him, are you still driving?
Right. Right.
And maybe it's, I don't know. It's just one of those things where it's like, they call it a private driver. I'm sorry. Who the hell calls anything a private driver? No, you'd say it was a rideshare app. You'd say it was an Uber. You'd say it was a Lyft. You'd say it was something. And I don't know.
Dude, I can't. I digress. I got Tina Turner in my head. I got my private dancer, a dancer from. Sorry, every time you say private driver, I'm going private dancer. I'm old. It just happened. But anyways,
and
I don't know, man.
Not Eric, but I'm just saying I find it very odd.
I think so as well. And of course, Eric's connections to the police department, supposedly through his wife and stuff like that, then you start to wonder, is that a made-up story to cover an alibi, that they needed to have the certain things? Again, they're looking to fit things into a certain time frame. So if they have people who can be easily, hey, I got a buddy who can say I picked him up that night. I got somebody else who said, I'm friends with the DoorDash driver. I can have her say that she saw Brian Kober. Like, do you call in all your buddies and start coming up with a story that places people where you need them to be? I don't know.
Right, exactly. So like, what is the point of that reference then? That's what I'm saying. Is like, the other thing that I thought was very odd too is, okay, I was going back looking through like original timestamps. Okay. And look at this. Look at these chicken scratch notes. This is that's investigative journalism right there, folks. Just scribbling it out, drawing arrows. I feel like that workaholic meme. Have you seen that?
No,
Oh,
you got
dude. I'll pull it up.
Yeah, you basically have a crime board. Get a whiteboard crime board on your desk there with that notepad.
Yeah, this is what I feel like right now. Where is it?
Oh yeah, exactly.
I feel like this guy where I'm like, bro, just listen to me. I'm telling you, there might be something here. But and it's like, okay, let's think through this all as the Hive. Let's do a live thought workshop. That's a terrible name for that, but we're gonna try this. So on the Banfield body footage, or the Banfield body cam footage, you see the black truck drive by, but I believe that truck is driving too. And if you see it go away, we don't really ever see it on the cameras, right? You might hear another diesel engine. Yeah. Going back to my point about the girls, allegedly, that photo was taken at 1:32 a.m. of them at the Corner Club. Do you remember that? How you were talking about that? And then you had alleged that there was some stuff with Jack where maybe somebody had humiliated him.
I said everything that happened that night happened at the Corner Club. Started at the Corner Club is what I said originally. Yeah, but
it sounds like it happened. It started happening at Linda Lane,
right?
And so what I found odd though is like that picture was taken, and they would have had to leave and got into the grub truck at 1:40. It's like a 7-minute walk. So it's like they had to literally leave right after that photo was taken, which maybe they did. But then it's from the grub truck to King Road. They left the grub truck at 1:53. It's allegedly a 6-minute drive. And then isn't it funny how originally they said they got home at 1:53 and then it was 1:56 and then it was 1:59. So when did they get home?
Right.
And my question is, that should not be hard to track. Why is it? And you hear the loudest diesel engine right as a fight's going on at the midnight hour or the 1 o'clock hour. Oh, I don't know. And I know DA that I'm trying to think out loud, but it's like,
yeah,
it's just, yes, you hear very loud diesel engines everywhere, but you don't see really many. And yeah, the Linda Lane fight is insane, guys. If you have not watched that full video, DA, I would highly encourage you. There is some.
I need to see it. Yeah, I haven't seen. I haven't seen that.
Talking about like, or it sounds like somebody's talking about like S in someone's D, and then like you hear like Narcan, and you hear like a bunch of crazy shit, bro. And you definitely hear unmistakable shit talk.
Yeah,
like unmistakable, not just playful.
Right, it's going down.
Yeah, you're saying it with like your whole chest, like you're gonna go to war with somebody.
Yeah.
And Sherlock said he just uploaded it now. I called it Suspect Vehicle 3, but at this point, and I missed the first part of that, Sherlock. So
that's another thing. I mean, again, Suspect Vehicle 1 in the PCA. I said all the time, why not just call it Suspect Vehicle? Why are you saying Suspect Vehicle 1? Do you know there's more than one suspect vehicle? Why enumerate it? Why not just say Suspect Vehicle? Like I've been anyways, done with that rant. I've been bugged by Suspect Vehicle 1 and they said it was a living document. So at some point, did Suspect Vehicle 2 and 3 get edited out of the document and they just left in Suspect because they said it was a living document. They were constantly revising it. So I have to wonder if there ever was more than one suspect vehicle, but that's just me.
Well, and where is the diesel? Where's the diesel? That's what I want to know. Where's the Power Stroke? What are the other ones? It's Power Stroke, Cummins, and what's the other one? Somebody else will pick me up. Do you know him? Do you know what it's Power Stroke, Cummins, and
no.
Oh God, this is embarrassing for both of us. How do we not know the what's the other one? Damn it. It's on the tip of my tongue.
I'm so ashamed, Father. I need to put a
damn
bag on my head and
There's Dodge, Ford. I don't remember what the Chevy one's called. Duramax. Yes, Duramax. Attaboy.
I mean,
All
I'm gonna fall back. I've never been a supercar guy, so it's just me. I just never been a
Well, but that's where it's like, okay, here's a discussion that I want for you and I to have, and for the Hive to also chime in. This is a discussion I believe that is probably more relevant, and I'm going to continue to dive into where's the diesel, and is there security footage that's manipulated? Because I showed it on stream the other day. I don't know if you were in here, DA, when I showed you that they played that footage in reverse. I want to know why nobody is talking about that.
I saw that. Yeah.
It's so obviously in reverse, and people are like, that's where, okay, what's the goal of it? I want to demand, hey, Moscow PD, FBI, Bill Thompson, Ann Taylor, Judge Hippler,
Answer that shit.
why is it in reverse?
Yeah.
If I got the answer to that question and that question alone, I would be satisfied, because that answer would have to be the most egregious answer of like how far they will go in this case to manipulate something or cover it up. And it would probably shine a light on all the other stuff then. So why is all the footage manipulated? You're speechless.
Dude, I am, because dude, this is what I said at the beginning of the show. At the end of the day, we're never going to have the answers like answered by authorities, right? They're just going to give you the big middle finger, like, sorry, the evidence is what it is. You're not going to have a trial. They're not going to answer these. So all we have is speculation and raising holy hell. And hopefully, I guess, going back to another point you made tonight, hopefully we can find something where you can go and say there's been prosecutorial misconduct, there's been law enforcement misconduct, that they lied about something. And again, it may not reverse Kohberger's fortunes, but if we can hold some people in law enforcement accountable, hold the prosecution, Bill Thompson's team responsible, hold the judge responsible, I wouldn't be surprised if we're going to find out that there's some people that have been paid off in this case. So I just, that would be nice if we can get that.
I can't even look at this video, DA. I'm telling you, if I was sitting in prison for the rest of my life and I was an innocent man and I saw this shit being played in reverse on Dateline and my lawyer told me to take a plea deal, I would be irate. Oh my God. I can't like,
dude, you are getting rant worthy. You're coming out of the booth. You're about to knock some shit over.
I just don't understand it. It's like,
yeah.
Like, and I think Dawn, her and I were talking, it's like, if Brian does an appeal and if Brian keeps his mouth shut, and if Brian literally didn't do this and just sits in a max security prison all day, that dude literally deserves prison time for not opening his mouth at this point.
Right. I get you. I mean, I know how, yeah, you're right. Like that's why, I mean, I wasn't even talking about this, but when I saw that them present what they're going to, here's what we would have said in court. I'm looking at Kohberger like, how are you taking this deal? How are you, like, it makes no sense, man. Like, why are you taking this deal? And the only thing at the time I thought, well, this has got to be a long game. Like they've got to be literally setting up a ineffective counsel argument that I didn't have effective counsel. I was given bad advice by my attorney. He told me she told me I had to take this deal. I was misinformed. I want a better lawyer, and I want a retrial. Now, again, time's running out on that shit. But that was the only thought that it just has to be, because there's no way you're admitting guilt to this. Let's break this out. Okay. If Kohberger actually did it, even, right, he had a fighting chance of getting away with it, because they had to
get away with it if he did it. But
right, but what I'm saying is, even if he did it, he's got to think I've got a good chance of getting away with it, even if I did do it, because they got a shitty case. But it drives me nuts. Like, even if you did it, fight that shit, because you would have probably you had a fair chance. But well, he didn't have a fair trial. That's the thing. He didn't have a fair trial. But I just couldn't believe. And the only other thing I could think of is, okay, well, maybe going down the worst case scenario, maybe Kohberger wanted the fame of being this big badass killer. And he's like, I'll take the fall, because at least everybody will know my name, right? Are you that kind of guy? Are you that guy that's like, I'm willing to spend the rest of my life in jail because I'll be in history books. They'll be talking about me for decades. I don't know. Like, I just, none of it makes sense to me. I know my rant probably doesn't make any sense, because that's where my brain's at. None of this fucking makes sense. So I just fucking ramble shit. Like, none of this makes sense to me.
I get a headache from watching this shit. Like, why do you have to zoom in like a UFO on it? There's no other car. Why do you dim the background? Like, what are you hiding? And
Right.
I guess in my head, what gets me so fired up is like, I'm so sick of being manipulated on a mass scale as like a public, right? Because in this case, it's Brian Kohberger is a murderer. There are 4 people and he killed them. But what happens when it's getting us into wars and tons of people die? What happens when it's manipulated and it's a false flag or it's a psyop or who knows? Like, that's what bothers me, is because it's been shown time and time again. And if you live under a rock and you don't look for it and nobody speaks out about it, which again, it was that little voice that we talked about at the beginning of the stream of, well, shit, what are we going to do? I mean, yeah, they're never going to let us see it. It's like, F that, dude.
I get it. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it sucks because I mean,
I'm gonna get this shit off my screen. I can't even look at it. It just pisses me off.
Good for you that you still have the righteous indignation. Like, you're still furious about it. And I guess I am as well. It's that I'm starting to feel a little defeated because, again, as I watch the appeal time tick down, I'm thinking to myself, what is the only other option once the appeals are off the table, right? The only other option, in my opinion, is somebody finds out, one, Brian Kohberger could not have been there, in which case then it doesn't matter if you have no plea deal. If you could not have done the things you confessed to, you're out. So if that's the only thing that's going to happen is somebody can prove Brian Kohberger could not have done what he confessed to, he'll still walk. Or somebody could find out that despite the fact that he's in jail, by the way, I can prove that somebody else helped him or somebody else did it or whatever, and they also go to jail. Now, granted, you can't put somebody else in jail for the same crime. So it would have to be an accomplice kind of thing. But the options of anything happening in this case good are running down, unfortunately.
If I see now here, I'm thinking hypothetically, if I'm in that position and I truly didn't do shit and I'm being railroaded by the legal system or I'm being set up or my family's being threatened and I'm not getting help behind the scenes, right? If I'm not getting help behind the scenes, meaning that, okay, part of the deal for WITSEC is that I'm going to just shut up. The country's going to think that I'm, this monster, but then I'm going to go behind closed doors. They're going to say that, I was murdered in prison and my family and I are going to be on the beach in the Bahamas somewhere in a year. Right.
Right.
And I have a whole new identity. I'm living off the government's money because they, I took a fall for the world's highest profile murder case in the last decade. Now, there's that option, right? That's obviously my tinfoil hat.
Yeah.
But if it was not that, and I truly felt like I was being railroaded and I had no escape, I'm sorry, but like, if I'm on a recorded court TV, I'm like going to yell out and blurt out. I'll have like a 10-second thing that I could yell out quick, like, I'm being threatened. These people aren't helping me. It's blah, blah, blah. And I would just try to get it onto a live stream so somebody captures it.
I don't know
what I would do.
I don't know if I can articulate this right, but if your scenario, for example, of, let's say, there's some people, I hear this a lot. My hope is, because I don't believe Brian, so this is the logic. I'm going to follow somebody else's logic. My hope is, because I don't believe Brian Kohberger did it, that maybe he made a deal. He's going to be going to WITSEC and he's going to be living a decent life, whatever. The only problem with that is it's not acceptable to lie to the American public like you did.
Yes.
It is not acceptable to fuck everyone in America with your bullshit lie. Whether or not he's on a beach somewhere sucking on a pina colada, I don't fucking care. It's not acceptable for you to have lied to everyone and shined us on this entire time. That's not acceptable. And the families. The families don't know what really happened. That's all bullshit. It's not acceptable.
It's not. And this is about the system, everybody. Again, put anybody's name onto this. That's the other thing too. It's like people get blinders on when they hear Brian Kohberger because it's like off brand. It's off brand to say maybe the guy didn't do it because you're just such a simp that watches the news and you repeat it on TV and you're going to post the cool thing to post.
Right.
You're going to say, yeah, he's so innocent. Like he was stalking his next victims. I'm shook at the thumbnails on YouTube that I see of what people are interpreting these damn police documents as. It's like, how are you going to say that he was stalking his next victim?
Yeah.
And I go on these rants all the time. I'm not even going to lie. I'm sick of going on the rants, but it's like a principle at this point. It's to your point of this is not okay. If this is not the truth, then we at least need to figure out a way that we don't have to be lied to and manipulated to and have people believe two different sides of the story and divide the society. Okay. We need to have something that people could say, like in real life, not the bullshit. I'm going to take the easy way out and say this is an ongoing investigation and we can't talk about an ongoing investigation. I hate that answer. I cannot stand that answer.
I can't either.
And in a way too, maybe it's our fault as the public. A, we've let it happen, but B, suing people was out of control in this country to where everything and anything you said was, you know, you could get a lawsuit against you now. Like, also, this is a freedom of speech country. I think that intentions have a lot to do with freedom of speech. What are your intentions? Now, if you're defaming or if you're doxing or for whatever else, but take all that bullshit out of it. People are so scared to say the wrong thing because why? We've seen this system bend you over the barrel and show you the 50 states time and time again. If you say too much, even though you're telling the truth, they will flip and pervert that truth and then put you in prison.
At a minimum, let's go back. Let's go back to the big Dateline NBC leak, where Hitler seemed for the first time in his life to be a little pissed off about who leaked information to Dateline. Clearly somebody leaked. I want names. I want someone's ass, and they're going to be held accountable. And now, where's that accountability? If it was law enforcement, I want a law enforcement officer fucking fired, and I want his pension removed, and I want it made a public spectacle. If it was somebody on the prosecution's team, I want them disbarred and never practice law ever again, and I want you to make it a public spectacle. You need to hold people accountable, and don't just pretend like this didn't happen now and go, oh, I'm going to hold people accountable. Oh, well, he pled guilty. We don't have to talk about it anymore. No, people need to be arrested, potentially fired, lost their pension, disbarred, never practice law again, and stop effing America, because that's ridiculous. So again, I still have a lot of rage, obviously.
Well, and I just saw somebody, I just had it on screen. Alien Dog, this isn't the one, but it was Alien Dog said Nancy Grace says that they're harassing him through the vents. Well, and this is not towards you, Alien Dog. This is rather to Nancy Grace or anybody else that's saying that. How do you know that? What, somebody told you? Like, that's what my entire Substack article is about today. It's the phantom witness. Okay. Yeah. It's the literal phantom witness. And I will put this up here real quick just to show this so that I can make this point. Okay. And it's just so true. You look at this. Oh, damn it. You look at this and it's like, it's the same play, different jersey. Source says Kohberger was near the house before the murders. Yet there's no footage, just no photo, but it still shapes the case, right? Yeah. It's always, right? There's a witness that materializes out of thin air. You know, it's a mysterious source close to the investigation. That's like, we're going to have history continue to be rewritten until we start to question, who is this phantom witness? How can they prove that they saw what they saw or they heard what they did? It's an unnamed source. Oh, we can't say that. No, it's bullshit. It's the push a narrative, probably 9.999999999 times out of 10.
Yeah.
And but how does Nancy Grace know that? And also to Nancy Grace's point, or not to Nancy Grace's point, Jesus H. Against Nancy Grace's point, if Kohberger was really being threatened and he kept his mouth shut, he'd probably get some respect in there rather than, oh, he killed and murdered all these people. If he took the fall, these people in there might think, or they might know about it. I don't know. I don't know how prison rules work, but I do feel like you get shit kicked out of you if you're a snitch, and he didn't snitch.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the only thing going in his favor is if he did protect somebody by not giving something up, then that's going to go well for him potentially there. But here's the thing, by the way, as a side tangent about, we keep mentioning Nancy Grace. I'm going to CrimeCon in Aurora, Colorado in a couple weeks. And fucking Nancy Grace is going to be there. She's got everybody come take pictures with Nancy Grace. She's one of the specialists on a panel. And I don't even know how I can be in the same room with her and like go,
you gotta get yourself one of these, DA.
I almost like, bitch,
like, who's got the clown horn?
God.
Wait, DA, you got to wear like a baggy jacket and just like kind of do it like just randomly, like just quietly, like
as I go by her. Yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, it's going to be difficult for me to just kind of like, man, like she literally will just say shit. I don't know. I don't know if you heard that interview, but she just randomly went off on shit and it just kept getting worse. The more she built on it, the more, again, it's the panty sniffer narrative. And she just went on and on. And I'm like, by the time you're done, it's going to be the most ridiculous. It's like the bigger fish story, right? It's the fishing story. Your fish gets bigger every time you tell the story. And that's with Nancy Grace. Every time she tells the fucking story, it gets bigger.
You just start holding it closer to the camera. You know what I mean? Like that's all.
Right, objects are larger than they appear.
Yes,
I don't
yeah,
know.
exactly.
But
dude, like you're right. So here's what I want to say. I've said theories that there was ritualistic aspects and symbolism in this case. There's a lot of odd numerology similarities that just they don't make sense to line up in addition to everything else that's weird. I've said their parents have had run-ins with law enforcement with drugs for flipping on people who are in powerful positions in the criminal underworld, right? So it's not unrealistic to think that maybe they're a confidential informant or that they had to be protected and they were in a witness protection extraction program. Or it's also not unrealistic to think that the NIJ was giving funding to this school to look into predictive criminal behavior, and maybe the FBI let a hit happen right underneath their nose. All things that I've come up with by looking at the case. And then Nancy Grace is going to get on there and say Brian Koberger was sniffing panties. And she just gets a pass. It's like, yeah, you go, girl. Yeah, you go. No, what the fuck, dude?
Right. And there's a fine line. See, and I don't want to get too far down the conspiracy rabbit hole, but there's that fine line between. I know. So, you started to get on me when you did the whole, okay, so you're getting funding to study something. So maybe you let it happen. But then you start getting into black budgets where you don't just let it happen. You pay for it to happen. You pay for it to happen so that you can do some kind of thing and study it and whatever and analyze it. So how far do you go down that rabbit hole? Like if there really was funding involved and it just happened to happen that this big murder case happens when they're getting all this funding to study that kind of thing, is it really that they just let it happen? Was it just coincidentally on their part that they got a bunch of money to study that event and then something like that just coincidentally happened? Or did somebody pay for it to happen? Then you get into that weird shit. Anyways.
Well, that's not that weird. It's not that weird to think that, okay, I'll use their coined phrase against them. It's for the greater good. It's for the greater good.
Right.
Right. You know, I like one of the most crazy analogies that I've always like thought of and I've heard of. And I already know there's going to be people that have some thoughts on this, but the point that I'm making is about the power of like a mass psychosis or a mass belief. Okay. Let's go back to Nazi Germany and you want to talk about the Holocaust. Okay. That was really only a generation and a half ago. If you think about it, if the average person lives to be, I know that's 75, let's just say for math, 100 years. It's like, you think back, it's like, man, like my grandpa and grandma would have been kids there. Do you think, were their parents really like turning in their neighbors? Like it's hard to get to that point, right? Now, again, I know there's going to be people that speculate on, you'd say like, oh, the Holocaust didn't happen, or if it did, I'm not making that point. And that we can have that conversation for a different day. I'm trying to make the point of the power of like a mass belief. Okay. Well, let me finish this point because you're going to see where I'm going. The mass belief, people go, how could they ever do that? And it's like, dog, they had us walking 6 feet apart in the same direction in a grocery store for 18 months. Like they could do it. They have that power.
100%.
So that's what I'm getting at.
Yeah, and all I was going to add to the whole the Hitler thing is it's funny how when it's somebody else, when it's somebody else's country, we can accept, oh, Hitler, by the way, burned down his own Reichstag and blamed it on his enemies in a false flag operation so that the German people would get behind him in his war effort by saying, look at what the enemies did to us. But if you say that we did that, oh, that would never happen.
Right.
Like history repeats itself. If and why is it okay for us to accept that he would be willing to commit a fake act, burning down his own government building and then blaming it on his enemies so that he could have a pretext to war, but we wouldn't do shit like that? Or you need a pretext to go after people's guns, so you have some kind of shooting that's been staged, or you have a pretext to pass some new surveillance program and you need to be able to have it, so you do something that says, boy, if we had great surveillance techniques, that wouldn't have happened. Let us protect you. It's the problem action solution thing, right? What they talk about. You create a problem, then you come in with your, hey, I got the solution for you. Just give us more power, more control. I'm off on a rant. Sorry. This went conspiracy theory real quick, but yeah.
Dude, hey, first of all, I love your rants and I want you to continue them.
If there's a place to do it, it's on your show, right? If there's a place to do it.
Yeah. And right. Speaking of that, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say this.
Please retrieve your nearest tinfoil hat. Place hat firmly on your head. Prepare yourself.
Okay. Because I've been thinking about this now. Which, by the way, for anybody, I was going to say for the ladies in the hive, but I guess a pink tinfoil hat would be dope too for a dude to wear. But I'm working on getting those, so I will have those up on birdiebombshell.com soon as well. But okay, so one of the things that I'm going to talk to George Webb about. So I don't know if George, if you're watching or if you see this, maybe if you do, I could have you prepare something on this to see if this is even something that Palantir would try. But it's like, what if Brian Koberger is Palantir's suspect? Right? So what if, okay, so Palantir got $1 billion of funding from the DOD. Okay, the Department of Defense.
Yeah.
Okay. They can do things that the DOJ can't. Okay. So if Palantir has then worked with the DOJ, so they're the DOD and the DOJ working together for this funding for predictive criminal behavior. Is this a Department of Defense real life study, and Brian Koberger is Palantir's suspect that they came up with? And they're a part of that study is they want to see, can they get the public to believe that a guy with no motive, no murder weapon, no connection, and it's kind of funny, but it's not funny. It's at the same time, because it's like, if that's the truth, and then behind closed doors, is that why we're not seeing anything? Because behind closed doors is not a part of the study. So they arrested the people who actually did this hit, but they thought, let's see if with a very powerful narrative, people will believe a suspect that an AI predictive criminal behavior program caught. Because what's involved in that is not just typing in certain aspects to the crime that you think. Guaranteed they're going to have genetics involved in that. They're going to have geofencing involved in that. They're constantly scraping your phones. What do you Google? What are you watching? What are you looking at? And they're compiling an entire database. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, and for people that think that, that's a stretch, is it? I mean, I just watched a Mustang transform into a Pathfinder. Okay.
Right.
We all just watched that together. So
we're living in the twilight zone, man. It's really difficult. And again,
new world.
Yeah. There you go.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's tough. It's like I said, it's tough. I do want to focus, as this case goes forward. If Koberger doesn't appeal, I do want to focus on bringing some people to justice. I want some answers. I want whoever it was that leaked, if it was illegal and if it was something that should be disbarred, somebody needs to be disbarred. We need to so I feel like we need to keep that pressure on. Here's a summary. Other people need to go to jail. In this case, other people need to go to jail. Whether it's an alternate suspect who walked, they need to go to jail. Whether it's officers that bent the law and faked things, they need to go to jail. If it's a judge that got paid off, he needs to go to jail. We need people. There's other people who are ready. We need them to go to jail.
Well, and it's like, okay, why on earth? You know what? Actually, I'm gonna not do that thought. I'm gonna go with this thought. I had like two parallel running thoughts in my brain at that point, DA. I want your genuine opinion on this. No holds bar back. It has to do with psyops. It has to do with false flags. In what world, if a government was really governed by its own people, if it was a true democracy or a true republic, because we can go down that rabbit hole too of like, what is the United States? Is it a republic or is it a democracy? And what's it supposed to be? And has it been absolutely just manipulated into something it's not? Yes. Same thing with capitalism.
Yeah.
We don't live in a genuine free market anymore. Right. We live in a monopolistic capitalistic society. And where I'm going with that is, in what world would a government really governed by the people ever do a false flag or a psyop and justify it to the people? I can't see one situation.
The largest employer in this country is the government. Like that's a scary thing. Our government's gotten so big, it's out of control, and it's I don't know. It's not going to your question, but it's just again, it's not going to your question. My head's a mess, which is that I've always been told, love your country, fear your government. Our government is enormous. Our government has massive black op budgets where they can do shit against the American people. And by the way, when people defend the Constitution, they're supposed to take up a constitutional oath to defend against the domestic and foreign adversaries. Sometimes we have domestic adversaries that are working against the American people. We need to make sure that we're fighting for people's civil liberties. We fighting to make sure that we're making sure that our government has not got so big and so corrupt that they're basically, we have become the enemy. The population has become the enemy to a government that serves itself. I'm on a rant that makes no fucking sense, but these are random thoughts that are just coming off the top of my head.
It does make sense. It makes a lot of sense. And sorry, I just got a text my wife for some water. Jeez, I went down the wrong tube.
That sucks.
So to that point though, you know, the other thing that I believe that in this country we've been told, and it's been absolutely cooked into our brains, is that everybody's out to get us when we're not so innocent as a country. And I'm not saying that as an anti-American, anti-patriotic thing. Like, you guys know me. I'm all about the like freedom of speech. You know, I'm not even going to say like holding us to like whatever was written by a feather, by candlelight. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I'm not saying that. I understand that situations change. But what I'm also getting at is like, we've been told since day one, since we're born, everybody's out to get us because they hate our freedoms.
Right.
And I'm not even going to lie. I've had this thought where I'm like, I'll go to a different country. Part of me wonders, like, are these people way more free than me? They can do whatever the fuck they want on their roads. They're not safe. There's no traffic laws. That's freedom. You're free to drive however the hell you want in a lot of countries.
Oh my God, dude. Rant, I'm older than you, dude. I was sold a bullshit lie. We were all sold, my age generation were sold a bullshit lie about how amazing the country is. You've got such freedoms over there. And then I started to watch, I got to tell you, this is embarrassing. This is how old I am, right? The internet wasn't a thing. We didn't have webcams in every single city across America. The eye opener for me was when I had a belief growing up that everybody else lived in a shithole in this world and only America had it great. And then I started watching the cameras on everybody, and I'm like, their fucking cities look amazing. Their people are wearing better clothes than we are. Like, how did I buy into the narrative? You know why? Because they had control of the media. That should tell you something, by the way, as well, on my rant of rants, which is when they control the media, you're brainwashed. They made everybody believe that we were somehow so special, and then you find out that we don't have the best medical system, we don't have the best education system, we're not the best at fucking anything. What are we the best at? Okay, I'm sorry. I'm gonna
No, you're good. What are we the best at? Well,
right.
Drone strikes.
Yeah, we're damn military.
Yeah,
we are damn good at military.
I mean, yeah, dude, like, don't get me wrong. There are definitely countries that are not nearly as advanced as us, but there's also countries that we think are like where the people might be living in mud huts that it's like, no, they have like immaculate cities now. Like, we have not been brought up to speed on what other countries are doing. And I think one of the reasons goes back to, and I'm not just trying to continue to tie this to that point of like that little voice in your head that creeps in that's like, well, what are we going to do about it? If we continue to think that way, everybody, nothing's going to change. If anything, it's going to get worse. So like, it does take people to stand up, and when they see something they don't agree with, to not just go at the people they don't agree with personally. No. Like, come to a tangible solution. It's called a win-win, or it's some sort of agreement. And humans have gotten this far negotiating, figuring things out. And if they don't, there's always destruction. How many times are we going to see destruction? How many times are we going to blow up each other? How many times are we going to go to war because some rich politicians are telling you that we have to do this? Their kids aren't going to go, right? Like, very rarely do they go. I can't stand the fact that we live in a time where there is still war. That is one thing that just drives me up a wall. How are we still sending sons and daughters to go fight for, like, what are we doing here?
Right. I feel like you and I both need to be careful, because I don't, we're going to quickly sound like we hate our country. We don't hate our country.
I love my country.
Absolutely.
I want the best for it. I
but
feel like
the arrogance,
so much better.
We could be someone, that's just it. And the arrogance of like, you better not do something or we'll come over to your country and open a big can of fucking democracy on your ass.
Put a boot in your ass.
We're going to open a can of democracy and nuke your entire, I was like, why are we not better? Let me tell you this. And again, I don't want to make this into, I'm kind of turning it into an anti-America rant, but we don't do anything in this country for altruistic reasons. We don't help other countries because we're the good guy. We help people when it's in our financial best interest. That's the bottom line. We help people when it's in our financial best interest, period. When they talk about what's best for the world. It's what's best for American interests and American businesses. And so it's a scary thing. We need to start being better. Like you said, that's the bottom line. We need to start being better. And it starts with, being at home and being better about protecting people's rights and their civil liberties and doing the right thing and having open and fair transparency. Let's not go to secret trials. Let's not go to shit where everything's under gag order and it's held in courtrooms that you don't get to see and they just tell you what happened at the end of the day. That's the wrong course to go on. Holy crap, I've gone on a tangent.
No, you're good, bro. And like one of the things though is when I talk politics, which I that's how I'll talk it. I don't talk on right, left, whatever. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
The bigger picture is that right and left are two wings on a bird that is nosediving as fast as it can into the depths of Satan's asshole at this point, because we're going nowhere, everybody. We are going nowhere. We're screwed unless we change something. And it's the illusion of choice, like so many other things in our world. I'm not saying anything that people probably haven't ever heard before, but the manipulation due to the mainstream media is one of the biggest culprits of challenges that the everyday man and woman has.
And they've been bought. Mainstream media is bought by our government. And that's part of the problem too. We need to do better. And I guess in a way, this is why I think, as long as they don't shut us off, us YouTubers hopefully can make a difference, because mainstream media has failed us big time. And so somebody needs to hold us accountable and get us back on track. And it's not going to be those who are paid for by our government. So,
and let me say this too, to anybody that is in the hive that has served, thank you so much, because at the end of the day, here's something that my father-in-law told me, and he did a handful of tours, and you guys have heard me briefly talk about him. He was in MARSOC, and so he's seen some shit. At the end of the day, and after having, this is him saying, it's like having time to reflect. Why were we over there? Whatever it was, right? He goes, you can't think about that because nobody knew. And at the end of the day, you guys were still the people that signed your name on the dotted line. You signed up willing to go over there. You had the balls to do it. You had the love for country to do it. And that's what I think is like, you can't ever shit on somebody for having that drive, because the manipulation by the media was so strong and everybody fully believed it. So it has nothing to do with the reasoning for the war. Or I'm sorry, it has everything to do with the reasoning for the war and nothing to do with the people that were in a position that had to go and do that and go over there and fight it and live and come back to their families. It has absolutely nothing to do with that, and everything with the fact that the media has pushed such shitty narratives. And one of the things that I thought was actually probably one of the most powerful things that I've heard somebody call out a mainstream goon on was President Trump, when they were saying, did you support Putin? And he's a killer. How do you defend him? And I think everybody can agree with this. He said, what do you think? We're so innocent. And I'm just like, dude, anybody could have said that, but it was just very well timed. And it's like, that is so true. How often do we get told how awful all these other leaders are? And it's like, well, look at us throughout time. And I don't even know how we got on this tangent, but it ultimately all comes back to the fact that I'm sick of being lied to by the media. When I watch a Mustang GT turn into a 2010 Nissan
Bumblebee Transformer.
Yeah. Or when I see a timestamp manipulated, what are we doing?
I know. And I want to hit, by the way, Meow House in your comments made a comment that I've been holding on screen to talk about, which is that the U.S., this is their comment, the U.S. has the largest incarcerated population of any developed country. We have in America only 4% of the world's population, and yet incarcerate over 20% of the prison population in the world. Why is that? In a country where we believe in the presumption of innocence, we incarcerate more than anybody else. Why is that? Fundamentally, that used to be the tagline of my show when I first started. Why is it that we have 4% of the world's population and incarcerate 20% of the world's prison population? That seems to be a problem when you believe in the presumption of innocence until proven guilty. So I'm just wanted to shout out to that person that made that comment, because that is one of the things that I, at Devil's Advocates channel, that's my main focus, right? Is the whole, like, the presumption of innocence and doing things right and protecting your civil liberties. It's my big thing, because I think there's something wrong that we say it's like we're two-faced. We say on the one hand, we believe in freedom. We believe in the rights of people. We believe in presumption of innocence, and then we're getting more and more police state-ish, and we're getting more and more putting people away for shit that it was a circumstantial case, but throw them away and lock up the key. Like, it makes no. I did that backwards. You know what I'm saying? The point being is that it's we need to do better. That's the theme, I guess, at the moment, is do better.
Right, and so let's finish with this. How do we, or what do we do with this? Because at this point, specifically for the Idaho 4 case, investigatively speaking, there are massive gaps and holes in this that have been exposed on what the media ran cover for. That was an airtight timeline. Throw the key away, lock them up, as you just said. And that's just not true. That should not be okay, no matter who it is. And you know what else? DA, you had one of the best points about this a couple of weeks ago where you said, well, if that's going on in a case with this much visibility,
Right.
what goes on in a case where there's no visibility? How does one have a living fighting chance? I mean, it kind of makes your, stomach like fall out when you think about if you were sitting in prison, you didn't do it and nobody believes you and you can't prove it. You don't have the resources or you don't have people looking into it. It's just, that's a terrifying feeling to think about. And the people that are innocent, that are wrongfully incarcerated, like truly, not just like a technicality legally. I'm saying like truly did not commit a crime. I can't even imagine what that would be like.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, to echo that, the reality is the more money you have, the better lawyer you can get, the better defense you get. People would, and unfortunately in a country again that believes that we're all created equal, right? All men are created equal. That's supposed to be one of our founding credos. But in reality, the more money you have, the better defense you're going to get. If you're a little guy and you can't afford, right? If you can't afford Karen Agnifilo like Luigi Mangione, you have no chance. He's had at least 4 100% violations of his civil liberties that Karen Agnifilo has pointed out. And they're no question. They violated his civil liberties. And yet they're doing that with somebody where the entire world is watching and he's got a top paid lawyer. How many times is that happening to the little guy who can't afford Karen Agnifilo? So it should terrify people. It really should terrify you that if they can get away with this on a grand scheme when you've got the top paid lawyer in the country or one of the top paid lawyers in the country, what are they doing to the little guys? Uh-oh, did Birdie freeze? No, you froze for me.
I did for a second. Can you go back and repeat the last 10 seconds you said?
I just basically was just saying that if you can't afford, the Karen Agnifilo, then it should terrify you that if they'll do that with just like you said, if they'll do it on the world stage where everyone's watching, and believe me, everyone's watching that case to some extent worldwide. And I shouldn't say everyone, but I'm saying countries all around the world are watching it, and they'll violate people's constitutions. I think that's happening to the little guy all the time, and that should terrify you to live in that kind of place.
Somebody brought up too the hive mind find. You know how you were just talking about, like, do you have the money to defend yourself or whatever it is? Somebody was talking about Ann Taylor and BK's behavior. And if you think about it, like, I think Ann Taylor is a capable attorney. You go back and start listening. She knew about the 7 minutes and 26 seconds, right? Don't think 7 minutes doesn't matter. I'm going back specifically to Idaho 4 in this. Somebody pointed out that when Bethany was brought up, that's the only time you saw Brian Koberger sit up in his chair a little bit. That's it. And I thought that was odd. But I have this queued up because I think it's just a good. We don't have to watch the whole thing. There's just like 2 parts of this that I just want to remind everybody that this is what the guy who prosecuted him said about his so-called airtight timeline.
Do you have audio? I don't have audio.
You don't have audio?
No audio.
Now?
No audio.
You don't have audio?
I don't.
Oh, hang on. Let me put it back on then. Hive, did you guys hear that? Oh, oops.
Nope, they're saying no audio too.
Anything?
No, yes.
Residents went to the 3rd floor and with the defendant.
I just want to say this all to your point, and hopefully that's better now, Hive. Sorry about that. To your point about your 25-year NYPD buddy with the crime scene thing, and then hearing this for how bloody it was supposed to be. I mean, just
Entered the residence of 1122 through the kitchen sliding door on the back side of the residence, which is the side of the residence that would face the area above where the defendant's car was parked. Defendant entered the residence, went to the 3rd floor, and with a knife, killed Madison Mogan and Kayla Gonzalez. The defendant, as he left that room, for whatever reason, ended up leaving, or the sheath for a K-bar knife was left on the bed next to Madison Logan's body. And I can jump ahead. That sheath was tested by the Idaho State Police Forensic Lab, and single source male DNA was found on the snap of that sheath, as well as blood from both Kaylee and Madison and other trace evidence. But it's important to note single source male DNA was on the snap of that sheath.
Doesn't it just sound way too it sounds way too like legally written to protect? Like, does that make sense? Like, what am I trying to say? Like, scripted, yes, but I'm saying even a level above that. It seems like every word was specifically chosen
to cover their bases later and stuff like that too.
Yeah.
And by the way, and I don't mean to digress too much, but at the very beginning, when you played this, you went into the house and you went up to the 3rd floor. I keep replaying Steve Gonsalves. He didn't have to go up the stairs. Well, why the fuck didn't he have to go up the stairs? If the target was upstairs and he went up the stairs first thing, what the fuck do you mean, Steve Gonsalves? He didn't have to go up the stairs. Anyway, sorry, I digress. Let's go on.
Well, okay. See, and now I was under the impression that the sliding, well, he had to go up to the 3rd floor. So he's making the front door be 1, mid-level 2, 3. So if he came into the sliding door, he goes up to the 3rd floor.
No, because the sliding door, from what I understand, the sliding door is on the 2nd floor. Right. So he only had, but again, if you go in the sliding glass door, why did Steve say he didn't have to go up the stairs? Does that mean that the target was supposed to be on the main floor where the sliding glass door is at, and he didn't have to go up the stairs? Because according to Bill Thompson, he came in to go upstairs. That's what he came in to do. He came in and went upstairs, and it was for whatever, as he said, for whatever reason, you decided to go back down and kill some more people because your target was upstairs. So then Steve says, well, he didn't have to go up the stairs. Well, why wouldn't he have to go up the stairs if his target was upstairs?
And one of the things I've always thought was weird that somebody mentioned one time, I believe in the chat, or it was on a video that we played, but it was like, oh, it was True Crime Designs Omerta video talking about if you look at where the victims were placed, it was Xana's room and Maddie's room.
Yeah.
Right? Like very specific people to find deceased bodies in those rooms. I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry, we digressed.
No, you're good.
Evidence would show that Xana Knodel was still awake at this time. In fact, had taken a DoorDash order not long before this started. Her room was not on the 3rd floor. It was on the 2nd floor on the west side.
And sorry, last time, I'll pause this for a second. Does that delta affect the DoorDash order time? So they moved the delta. Or, I'm sorry, they moved the DoorDash order, rather. I feel like we mentioned it off the top of my head. I can't remember.
As the defendant was either coming down the stairs or leaving, he encountered
This lady's
Xana,
face cracks me up.
and he ended up killing her, also with a large knife. Ethan Chapin, Xana's boyfriend,
Isn't it crazy you were
was asleep in their bedroom, her bedroom, and the defendant killed him as well with a large fixed-blade knife.
Stop for a second. This is what bugs me. If they were wrong, about how let's even take for a moment. Let's say Koberger did do it. Everything they said he did. He did the all that, and you're sitting there and you know that they got that wrong. How do you not go, dude, that's not how it happened? Like, I didn't go down, like, how do you not like flinch when they go, and then you went down and here, like, yeah, that's not how that happened. Like, if you did it, why wouldn't you still have a little bit of hard time listening to them tell a completely wrong narrative about how it happened? Anyway,
guys, I just want to be like, oh my God. On top of all of the actual court stuff, you hear a giant fight happening. You hear people who are connected to certain groups' names. You hear all of this shit. You don't really ever hear Brian's name. You have one single source male DNA. They say all this shit in the court that doesn't make sense. Then you look at the police reports. It's like, did they investigate anything really? No, everything was like, there was really no need to investigate further. And it's just crazy.
You led this video at the very beginning, your trailer or whatever you want, not trailer, but your bumper for this video tonight or live had Ann Taylor. We don't know how the FBI developed the Brian Koberger DNA. We don't know how it doubled in size after you guys got it. So Bill Thompson's getting there bragging about how we had single source DNA, of which every MFer that has critical thinking skills wants to know how the hell you did that, because you doubled the size of the profile to get to Brian Koberger in the first place. You didn't get to Brian Koberger. You got to the DNA after you had Brian Koberger. Then you went back and said, oh, by the way, it's his DNA. You didn't like go find the DNA and then go, oh, that's Brian Koberger's DNA. Let's go arrest him. That's not how it happened. You had him first, you arrested him, and then you're like, oh, by the way, it's his DNA now. And by the way, Ann Taylor wants to know, how did you make that connection? Oh, yeah, we don't have to tell you about that. That's trade secret. Like, fuck. I don't even know if I'm articulating myself.
No, you are. I just
like,
I'm
dude.
just reading one of the craziest things that I've never thought of. So Kaylee B had said bangs and flashes. And then Lofty Morgan said batshit theory. What if the flashbang was something planted in the DoorDash delivery? And I'm like,
interesting.
Could you imagine, like, if you really wanted to, this is, I don't know if this is true. Obviously, I have no idea. We have no cameras. How are we ever going to tell? The timestamps are off. And everyone thinks that the audio is manipulated anyway. So, you know, we could probably speculate a lot. But yeah, what if Molly just dropped off a flashbang in a DoorDash bag and caught him by surprise?
I feel like
Jesus,
enforcement
off the table.
Land shark, we're going to delivery. We'll just give you something that comes in and it blows up when you get in the house, and then we kick the doors in. I don't know.
It's just crazy. But I just want to get to the point where doesn't he's well
wounds. I will state for the record that there is no evidence there was any sexual component or sexual assault on any of the victims. I want to make that clear so there's no speculation.
I thought he was sniffing panties. Sorry. I'm sorry.
There were two other roommates in the house, and they were already asleep. During the course of this, one of those roommates awoke, looked out her door not knowing what was going on, and saw the defendant, who was dressed in black with a black velvet cob on, holding some sort of container in his hand. And she saw him leave the house through the direction of the kitchen where that sliding door is that I mentioned before. At approximately 4:20 that morning, so this would have been 15 minutes or so later, defendant's car is seen on a surveillance camera for 1112 King Road, which is immediately next door.
And it's going in reverse, Bill.
To the west of 1122, leaving the area at a high rate of speed. And if the court were to see that,
it's like Ricky Bobby finishing the race in reverse in Talladega Nights.
Anybody in this courtroom would see that. You can see the car almost loses control as it makes the corner, heads north, and then turns to go south on Walinta, which is one of the only ways to get out of that part of town. The evidence would show that following that, the defendant in his Elantra drove south of Moscow. We know that he drove on the back roads because there are surveillance cameras on the main highways, Highway 95, that would have picked up the defendant's car if he'd gone that route. And they did not show the defendant's car on that route during the time. So we know that he went through a variety of back roads in very rural, isolated part of Latah County. About 4:48 that morning, the defendant's phone comes back on. And the evidence will show that that phone was located south of Moscow, likely at a side road intersection with Highway 95. From there, the defendant's phone activity tracks heading back north towards Pullman, Washington, where the defendant lived. About 5:26, starting approximately.
You know what we should do, and what I'll work on is, I just wanted to, again, remind everybody how crazy that is. But what we should work on, DA, is we should have the interview of Bill where he's saying the answers in his plea hearing, and then we should have the press conference after the sentencing, and he should like almost ask himself the question and have an answer, but that actually he's like debating himself. That's like what he would be doing. You know?
That would be fun.
Oh, man. But hey, anyways, I wanted to ask you before we end this stream, DA, what's the latest on some of the stuff you're looking into?
The latest is Luigi Mangione. We've got some filings happening in his case on the writ of habeas corpus. They're fighting over who should have him. I don't want to bore everybody with the legal thing, but basically Pennsylvania arrested Luigi Mangione, and they have an obligation to bring charges against him or let him go, and they're not doing so. So the attorneys are fighting for them to say, you need to do your job and actually tell the state of New York that you have the right to prosecute him first. That's how it works, and do your job. And they refuse to do it. So it's a legal battle. It's very interesting because they're basically trying to force Pennsylvania to shit or get off the pot. Either charge Luigi Mangione or let him go. Here's the problem: if you let him go, you also let all his evidence go that you got on him, like the confession letter supposedly and the gun that was supposedly on him and all the other things. They're saying either charge him with it and do it now or let him go. So that's an interesting legal battle. I got some big shit in the work with the Long Island serial killer case. I got an attorney coming on with me in a few weeks. It's going to be a big deal, and I'm hoping that that'll be well received. So those are kind of my things that I'm working on in the background.
Let me know. Do you have a date dialed in yet, or let me know and I'll make sure I'm plugging it, because
I've got the interview set up from August 20th. So that's when we're going to have the interview. I think we're going to do it as a recorded session, and then I'm going to edit it and make sure that in case I asked him a question that he's not comfortable talking about on thing, we can edit that part out, because I plan on asking him some pretty decent questions, right? So rather than do it live and catch him off guard, I think we're going to do that as a pre-record on the 20th, and then when exactly I premiere it or show it, I'm not sure, but I think it'll be a big one. Again, that Long Island serial killer case is going to be huge, I think.
And I've started to kind of just like, I guess, brush up on it. And by brush up on that, I rewatched the Netflix thing that's
nice.
On it a little bit. But also, yeah, see, that's probably a more calculated and smarter decision to do with an attorney, because this is again why I would never be able to be a reporter. I would be like, we're doing this fucking interview live, or we're not doing it. Because if you I want everybody to see the questions that I ask you and watch you squirm if you can't answer it. And that would be what goes in that. You don't have to answer it, but I at least want to see your reaction to how you would have answered it.
Here's the problem. Really, I have no problem going live with him. The problem is, I'm going to show my little insecurities, is that I'm embarrassed for him to stick him in front of only 30 or 40 people. And sometimes I have a live where I only have 30 or 40 people. I'm not going to stick that big of a name in front of 30 or 40 people and embarrass him and embarrass me. So I'd rather do it where I don't have to think about the audience being small, and then I'll put it out there after the fact. And because otherwise I'm going to be in my own head, like, how the fuck are only 30 people watching this? So, well, dude, by the way, yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, if along that lines, if anybody's in here and you haven't seen me before and you like anything I'm doing, please consider following my channel. I really need to get those numbers up and get those lives up, so that when I have a big name like that, because I'm getting fortunate enough, Birdie, I'm getting fortunate enough where I have attorneys that are coming on and don't have a problem sharing the screen with me and talking about law and breaking down law. And I get another big name attorney coming on. So I got people coming on that you want to hear, but I have to have people watching it or it's going to be an embarrassment. So if you can follow me, I really appreciate it.
Yeah, well, and Hive, you guys have heard of Ali Benevento. DA was the one that plugged it. I've talked to DA on the phone off stream a couple of times. I can promise you that he's not just saying that as far as who's willing to talk. So, I mean, I guess let's just do a quick temperature check. Hive, type of 1 if for this attorney, and that was on the Long Island serial killer case.
Yeah.
Type of 1 if you guys would tune into that. And DA, I will gladly continue to plug that, because I agree. And you're able to get in contact with people and have them on your stream.
I think what I'm going to do, here's the thing. I think I'm going to go ahead and tell you who the attorney is, because I keep pussyfooting around with it, and the guy's committed to it. I think he's a professional. He's going to do it anyways. The attorney is John Ray. He represented the Shannon Gilbert, the first person who went missing in the Gilgo Beach murders. She's the reason why they found the bodies, because they were looking for her. She had disappeared and law enforcement wasn't finding her. But when they went out to look for Shannon Gilbert, they found a bunch of bodies. John Ray has gone on to many broadcasts until the media started to turn on him and started to point out that he thinks the family, that Rex Heuermann's daughter and wife probably knew about the killings, that Rex Heuermann's been killing for 30 years. Rex Heuermann had all kinds of satanic shit in his house, and his daughter was making morbid pictures of stuff like that. And he has said some shit about police being involved with prostitutes, police looking the other way on the thing. John Ray's going to come talk to me. And I think that's a huge, huge thing for anyone who's even remotely interested in the Long Island serial killer. And you do not want to miss it. So let's make it a big deal, because it's explosive stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And dude, anytime that you have a guest or whatever, and you want me to throw something on, as promoting it, I obviously enjoy having you on the stream. So I have no problem doing that. And I think that, like I said, the goal here is, at least my goal, it's never been to break something, right? Like break the news. I know that that's a lot of motivations, but what that sometimes leads to is people stepping at each other's throats to get to whatever. When it's like, no, everybody can do great work. And if you got an awesome guest coming on, you know, I have no problem promoting it. I think that more people should do it. And dude, I could tell you that a lot of people in the live just typed a 1 here, but yeah. Anybody that does go over and subscribe to DA, he's got great work. Like I was saying, here's his channel if you guys want to. This series was great, and he's got a bunch of other great videos as well. And you go live at what time, DA?
I don't know, dude. I don't know.
You don't know what time? If he switched it again?
Yes. Yes,
Oh,
it's a long story. I'm so sorry. Like I need
No,
consistency. The problem is here's the thing. I'm going to share it real quick. I want to go at 6 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. That's when I'm comfortable. It's when I have the most time to prepare during the day. It's when I want to go. I moved away from that because everybody like you and Lana and all the big guys were all going at the same time I was. And I was thinking it's killing my numbers because, you know, to be frankly, some of these bigger channels have a lot, you know, we're covering the same topics, right? And you can't watch 2 guys at the same time. So I moved away from it. But as I got talking about it more and more, I'm like, it's been difficult for me to do the 3 p.m. show. So the long story is I'm kind of going back to 6 p.m. again because it's where I have the most time. It's where I can prep, and I'm just gonna have to carve my own niche. And I hope that it doesn't pull any numbers from you because I respect the hell out of you. But I just feel like that's my wheelhouse where I have to be because it's where I'm comfortable. But
well, the great thing about YouTube is the live gets uploaded. So if people aren't watching it live, they can go back 100%. And they can watch it. And they can have the live chat going. So I think, dude, just keep doing great work, and like people will tune in, you know. And I think that if you continue to put out the good guests, and if you continue to, you know, bring the heat with your investigating and stuff like that. I mean, dude, I don't know another creator that you've gone to the sentencing, you went to the plea. Yeah, you have Ali Benevento. You are all over it, bro. So
how exciting, by the way, how exciting was it? Ali Benevento, you know, we've had her on your show several times. It's surreal. 2 things happened to me that was so like, I just feel like I'm so privileged. Ali Benevento was literally texting me in the sentencing of Koberger saying, "Oh my God, did Steve Gonzalez just say that?" She's texting me in the courtroom. And I'm like, that's like the coolest fucking thing ever. Right. And then she's going on Court TV as a panelist, and she's texting me on commercial breaks during her. I'm like, she's like, "Hey, we're about to talk about Koberger in the next commercial break," and I'm like, "Are you fucking texting me live from like, aren't you nervous?" Like, she's like, "No, I'm not nervous. I talk for a living." And I'm like, "No shit, I guess you do." But it's amazing.
Allie's a badass, dude. And
she
that's
is a badass.
Exactly the type of defense attorney.
No fear. She has no fear.
Nothing.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Well, DA, as always, I look forward to Monday evenings with you. If you're new to the Hive, DA or Devil's Advocates is a guest on the stream every Monday night at 7 Central. I go live every night at 7 Central, and I will be back on tomorrow evening. I have a couple exciting guests as well coming up. Like I said, I have George Webb, the investigative journalist, and then I have a body language expert that we are working to dial in a time. I'm going to hold that name kind of close to the belt until I get that 100% confirmed. But I can tell you the cases that this woman has worked on are going to blow your minds, to say the least. So I'm very excited. And that won't just be an Idaho 4 body language. I mean, I'm going to have people submit to the Hive, like, what high profile case do you want me to clip a video of and get her takes on it? Maybe that, you know, you've always wondered, like, man, like one of the ones that I'd be curious about, dude, not a popular opinion, but Scott Peterson. Be very curious what a body language expert says about him.
Yeah.
OJ Simpson. Very curious what they would say about him. Yeah. You know, so, and thank you so much, Leah. I agree. It was a great live tonight. And with that, everybody, I will see you tomorrow night. Cheers. Thanks, DA.
Later.
Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life.